I would definitely recommend checking out the Keith Andrew Network. There's plenty of interesting guests and interesting topics to discuss on his show. Check it out.
Welcome to 520. I am your host, Keith Andrew. Along here with Brian Olvera. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
All right, thank you for having me, Keith.
No, the honor is all mine. For people who want to know what my talk show is about, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. It's to prove to them you can still amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. With that being said, don't mind me, I'm still finding off this stupid drip I have. It's a real pain in the ass to get rid of it. But with that being said, half hour, 32 minutes every time. Uncensored, freedom of speech, self-expression. You can ask me anything you want. Talk about whatever you want. This is your time. And starting off, one thing that really caught my interest was you worked with some of the greatest voiceover people in the industry, number one. And also, you were a part of Dragon Ball Super.
Yes, that's right. I actually voice Grill in Dragon Ball Super. And that was part of what a lot of people in the community for Dragon Ball find as a history-defining moment when the guys at Okratron got not only Chris Sabat, obviously, who's doing the English U.S. dub for Vegeta, but Brian Drummond, who was the original Ocean dub for Vegeta. They got to interact with each other in this scene, and I got to be a part of that, which was a lot of fun.
No, absolutely. One request. Is there a way you can just move a little more to the left because it's just cutting you off? Oh, perfect.
There we go.
No,
I'm on a Surface Pro, so yeah.
Oh, don't worry about it. I really like the fact that, I wasn't really a big fan of the Ocean dub. Okay, let's look at it like this. The Ocean dub, I wasn't a big fan, but I really liked the Vegeta voice. I would love to have him on the show. He was great. And
yeah.
There might have been somebody else that I liked from the Ocean dub. I can't think of it. I have to go back and look. But the Ocean dub Vegeta was one of my favorites. And hands down, Chris Sabat, he will always be Vegeta. But just the fact to see both of them interact with each other, that's really amazing. That was my favorite episode.
Oh, yeah. When Raleigh, the director of the session, told me that, I lost my mind. I was fanboying out because I grew up with the Ocean dub first. And then Funimation took over the rights for the show, and they started doing the dub here in Dallas. And I actually finally got to meet Brian at a local convention called KamehaCon. And I got to meet him finally. We got to talk for a little bit. He's super nice. And also got to catch up with Sabat as well. So that was a fun history-making moment for everyone involved in the show.
No, absolutely. And, you're not the first person from Dragon Ball Z I got on my show. I actually got in, I have to redo the interview because it was very professional. But I don't mind me. When I don't do my interviews, my disability shows and more. So when I interviewed Kyle Herbert, and I said, okay, I want you to answer the questions, but don't answer it in your voice. I want to ask Gohan. I want to ask Pikkon. So I asked, Pikkon, where do you stand on racism? And Kyle Herbert says, well, I'm green, so I think I'm the wrong person to ask about that. And then he gave another one in Gohan's voice. It was a lot of fun. It was one of my favorite interviews. And then he said, you can't use it because Funimation doesn't want me to use the voice. Mm-hmm. But I had people who were voice actors doing the voices, and no problem. So I'm still trying to get Kyle Herbert back on the show. He supports me. A lot of love and respect.
Oh, yeah. Kyle's a very nice guy. I'm good friends with him as well. It's always nice to catch up to him whenever he's back here in Dallas on the con circuit. We always catch up any chance we get. But Kyle's a sweetheart. I love Kyle.
Hey, if you can help me get him back on the show, I really appreciate it.
I'll hit him. I'll hit him up whenever I get a chance. I know he's back in LA right now because the con season is starting to wind down. Right. Anime Expo just happened, so everyone's kind of decompressing and relaxing right now.
I also got Kristen Vale on the show as well. He was part of my demo years. We're back going 5.5 years ago. I would love to do an official interview with him. Mm-hmm. And so, I got him. Yeah, I got Kyle Herbert. Are you a fan of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers?
Oh, yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, I remember growing up watching the original from Saban.
I'm a good friend with, I almost said Kyle Herbert. I'm a good friend with Kerrigan Mayhem. Yeah, he's a funny guy. I'm trying to do a part 2 with him. Mm-hmm. Barbara Goodson was my very first interview, actually. And she was nice enough to help me with that. I'm trying to get her back on the show. So that was Power Rangers. I also did a demo interview with Sarah Valentine. She was from Spider, the good one, not the shitty one, from the Amazing Spider-Man. She was Mary Jane.
Oh, that's right.
I also got Ronnie Salisbury, and we kind of had like a rocky friendship on and off, but yeah, he's a nice guy. And he did Jameson's partner, Ronnie.
Right.
Just trying to think of else voiceover wise. There's a bunch of them. I did over 520 thanks to you, and it's really hard to think of everyone like a snap of my finger.
Right. Well, thank you for letting me be a part of this 520th interview. I really appreciate it.
Hey, you're supporting your cause, making a new friend out of it. With that being said, I'm going to try to cater the show for more to disabilities, even though we can talk about whatever you want. So the first one I'm going to ask is, have you ever worked with people with learning disabilities? And would you be willing to work with people with disabilities, besides me?
I have a while back. When I was still working in retail, we've worked with a couple people who had learning disabilities, and I'm always willing to work with anyone. Because the thing is with me, the disability it's no big deal. I mean, as long as you put in the effort, put in the hard work, that's all we can ask out of anybody. I'm always willing to work with any individual as long as they're willing to put in the work, just as much as I am.
No, I agree. I'm the same way.
Yep.
Hey, it's how I see everything is you give me respect, I give you respect, pretty much.
Exactly.
Then the next question I was going to ask you was, how many years have you been doing voiceovers, and who influenced you?
This month marks my 4-year anniversary with Funimation. So professionally, I've been doing it for about 4 years. And let's see. Funny enough, I actually went to college to be a screenwriter. I never expected to be an actor. I wanted to write, be in the writer's room. And when it comes to influences, probably when I started, a lot of the big names, Liam O'Brien, especially since we're kind of a similar voice range, very low and bravado. And then as I started working with more people, obviously Kyle Hebert, definitely, both as just an inspiration as a human being and as an actor, love Kyle. As well as one of the directors I've worked with, Joel McDonald, who's done a lot of One Piece, and he's done stuff in like Borderlands, as well as Sonny Strait, who's the voice of Krillin and Usopp. So a lot of my colleagues have now kind of influenced me a lot in what I do every time I'm in the booth.
No, absolutely. And hypothetically, are you going to be part of the new Dragon Ball Z game? Or it won't, we're trying to find the words for it. Like I said, when I don't do my interviews every day, I build up like a brain fart.
It's alright.
Will Super be considered, not to interrupt, but will Super be considered in the new game because there's I think it was let's call it Dragon Ball Z X Part 2, and there's Super Saiyan Blue in there. Will your character be in it?
I haven't heard anything, unfortunately, and I mean I haven't really heard any news about Super at all. Because usually for this kind of stuff, I would get emails or texts saying, "Hey, can you come in for this or for that gig?" That's usually just kind of how I know. And obviously, because of my line of work, I have to sign an NDA, which means I can't say anything legally until either the company says it's okay or if the product is already out. So I haven't heard anything yet. As I loved voicing Grill, however, he didn't really do much. He was just the first domino in that little series of accidents in that small arc. But, I mean, who knows?
That's true. And what other... Yeah, and there's a whole list of characters that you've done. Most of them, no disrespect, I don't know who they are, but they look pretty interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I know as a diehard fan, it's like, how can he say that? But I'm like, I like Japanese animation, but it's kind of like, who was this guy again?
Yeah.
But with that being said, on the Dragon Ball Z market, do you think you're going to be playing any other characters, or do you think that was a one-time thing?
Honestly, I don't know. What I've learned in college when I took acting is whenever you book something and it's not a long-term thing, you have to look ahead, look for the next job, audition for the next gig. So I can't really dwell on one market.
Yeah.
It's like when I talk to people who ask me, hey, I want to be a voice actor, I usually ask them, do you want to do voice acting in general? Because that's what you got to do. You can't just do anime because the market is too niche. You have to there's commercials, there's radio, there's video games, there's even ADR for films. Dubbing a film. Like I did Shin Godzilla when it came to the US. I did a lot of ADR dubbing for military characters, bureaucrats. There's still work. You just can't focus on the anime market because it's too niche. It's too specific, and there's not enough auditions to really go around because now, thanks to technology, everyone can audition for this stuff now.
Yeah. No, that's
so
true.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Well, you brought up two good things that I want to run past you. And it's like, I didn't really care for the new Godzilla. Oh, I wanted to call it New Godzilla because there's a new one besides that one. But the Shin Godzilla, I didn't really care for it because it kind of looked like he was a zombie. That's kind of like, what is this?
It's an interesting design, but granted, this was a movie done by the guy who did the Evangelion movies in Japan. You could kind of tell in how the writing is, the imagery, Godzilla's design, and it was really more of a commentary on the bureaucratic processes of the Japanese government, how even in the middle of a nationwide crisis, they go through all this red tape, and some people are like, why are you doing this? The nation is on the verge of collapse. But it's an interesting take. Toho is experimenting with the property, and we'll see what happens. I mean, ever since 2014 with Legendary's take on the franchise and how successful that's been. I mean, we're getting a sequel next year, and he fights King Kong the year after that. So
no, it should be good.
Yeah. Toho is really experimenting with their properties right now.
What I'm looking forward is seeing Godzilla, King of All Monsters. So that's gonna be good.
Me too. That's gonna be fun. I can't wait to see how they design King Ghidorah, Mothra, and Rodan, because I love their design of Godzilla. He looks biologically sound. The feet make sense. The build makes sense. So I can't wait to see what they do for these other monsters. And the director's been like teasing on Twitter this entire movie. Is like, hey, here's a prop. Here's me recording a rattlesnake. Here's me doing this, and everyone's like, just show us. And we might even get a trailer in a couple weeks at San Diego Comic-Con. So,
oh, absolutely. And me and my sister are hoping Mothra has those. Well, we joke around. Me and my sister say Mothra's a pimp because he always has those two little girls with him. So we say the movie, I really hope he has the two little translators with him.
Yeah, the two fairies, yeah. I mean, we'll see. They've
That
been
would
doing a
make
good
sense.
job with the mythos, yeah.
And
I mean, they got the girl, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, they also got the lead actress from Stranger Things in this new movie, so, and they haven't said who she's playing. She could actually play, maybe she could play as one of the twins, and they just, you know, filmed her twice, have them stand next to them, so we'll see.
Either way, it's got to make one hell of a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
Now,
I'm excited.
I didn't mean to interrupt. You know, Skype.
No, it's okay.
It's glitchy and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So the next question I was going to ask you is that you mentioned technology. But before I get to that, I'm going to ask you a question before that. So it's a two-parter. The first one is social media. Do you think social media can make you or break you? And does it dictate your career if people should work with you? And the second part was the whole technology. You know, you mentioned people with an iPhone. Yeah, I can do the voiceover. Do you think technology is going to constantly evolve?
To answer the first part, social media in today's social climate can make, or in today's case that I'm seeing a lot, break you. Thanks to technology, the world is much smaller. People talk. You missay one thing, everyone hears about it. You know, me being friends with a lot of actors, I hear things. People talk. I've heard of messed up things that happen. I will obviously keep these things under disclosure, but there are some, like I was hearing something through a colleague that some guy was posing as other actors, sending death threats to studios or something, and I learned about that, and everyone just started relaying that information to each other. So, and social media is kind of a tool you need now, especially if you're LA bound, because you're promoting your brand. One of the things I learned when I went to VO Atlanta, which is a great conference, if anyone ever wants to even consider getting into voiceover, go to that conference. There's plenty of classes and free lectures you can go to, because it shows you the beast of voiceover. And you have to make that brand. You have to promote that brand. I don't know if you saw on my Twitter, I brand myself as an artist because I do art, digital art on the side on commission. I'm a writer because I went to college for screenwriting. I'm a streamer, and I'm an actor. So I have to promote that brand. I have to talk about that. And that people will notice you. And it does play a small element. Granted, there are some very rare exceptions. I met the voiceover director for Blizzard, Andrea Toyas. Wonderful woman. Love her. I got to take one of her courses, and she says, yes, social media, again, I'm paraphrasing, is an element in your business, but to her, she doesn't care how many followers you have. She doesn't care your social media presence. If you can do the job, that's why she'll hire you. She doesn't care about the numbers. But the numbers will help a lot of other people who aren't aware of you become aware of you.
Right.
And the second part, will technology keep evolving? Of course. There's actually a concept called Moore's Law, which, to really simplify, is the next iteration of technology will be twice as strong and half the size because we can put more transistors on a microchip. That always changes. I mean, now we have this phone I have right here can film in 4K 60 FPS. Cameras 6 years ago couldn't do that. We're getting phones that have enough RAM in them as desktop computers. Like my Surface Pro is an i7 Intel processor with 8 gigs of RAM, and I can do all my auditions, my art, Adobe on essentially a tablet. So that's always going to change. And not just software, but hardware. There's a lot of companies now making smaller microphones that'll plug into either your headphone jack or whatever if you do auditions on the go. and even in some cases, some studios, they're not really picky on the audio quality. If you're just auditioning, they really don't care how you do it, as long as it's clear enough they can hear how you sound and how you perform. There are people who audition on their phones when they're on a flight or something and they don't have a mobile setup. And they know they can do that because it's like you're not recording for the project, you're auditioning for the project, and you can go to a professional studio to do it there. So yeah, technology's it's the first domino flicked and it's not going to stop. It's not going to stop. We're getting flying cars are already being prototyped. We're getting self-driving cars, bendable monitors, and we can 3D print components, even organs. Yeah, it's always going to change, and that's the kind of the defining element of us as a species. We built something. We built the next step, and that thing is going to keep changing.
No, I agree. For an example, the same thing with my talk show. I tried looking up the history of Skype, but I couldn't really find it. Maybe you can help me with it. When was Skype first launched?
Let me pull that up real quick. See, again, technology. I can literally just Google Skype.
I think it's something like 2008.
Let's see. I believe you are right. Let me see.
And I think there's something, when I use Skype Recorder, I think they came around like a year or so afterwards.
Well, according to a lot of sources, it is 2003, August 2003. They're about to hit their 15th anniversary in a couple of weeks.
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
So one reason we were talking about that, it's like you go back, let's see, I graduated in 06, 12, freshman year was 15. Yeah, you go back 15 years ago, like we were just saying. It's amazing how much everything changed. Look at WWE. Look at the graphics and the ring, the lighting, all the wrestlers that came and went. It's amazing how we came from 15 years. Like, 15 years is a lot. Some good, some bad. But it's kind of like if I wanted to do this 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I would be limited. I think, 2003, me and my brother were still fighting over the internet because we had Frontier and dial-up. And now we have Wi-Fi, so it doesn't really make a difference. Well, when I do this.
Yeah, and now there are cities who are now doing city-scale Wi-Fi networks, Wi-Fi infrastructure. The city of San Antonio, Texas, the entire city has free Wi-Fi you can access, and that infrastructure is the foundation for something new. The data infrastructure is getting more and more complex and evolving. Like, let's talk about video games real quick.
Okay.
So when we were younger, let's say 2003, around that time, the GameCube, we still had memory cards to save our game files. Now, you could just save them on the internet. They're in the cloud computing. That's unheard of. And a lot of sci-fi writers are actually using technology that's happening today and influencing the writing. There's actually an author explained magic, basically, because this is millions of years in the future, the magic is literally just you access everything on the planet through the Wi-Fi that's still around, That's basically it. So, yeah, technology is always going to change, and basically it's amazing how things have gone. Even in, 5 years, things will change dramatically.
No, I agree with you. And, going back to, like I was saying, 15 years, going back to even 15, let's see, 15, going back 20 years, when I was a kid, I couldn't have done stuff like this, we had like a Power Mac. There was no just thing as a screen video camera. It would have been very primitive, and it was kind of like either you sit down with a friend and upload it, or it's kind of like you're doing sock puppets or something like that.
Yeah. Again, just these alone would blow people's minds 15 years ago. Like, the first smartphone was around, I think, '05, '06, when Apple made the iPhone. That, oh my God, everyone was like, a computer in your pocket? It's like, yeah, I mean, that's why these things are called smart devices or smartphones, because it's like, yeah, this does everything a computer can do on a reasonable scale, and even playing video games on these are getting better.
Yeah.
I mean, in Japan, that's all they do, it's all mobile gaming in Japan.
It's true. I do want to say that when we come back from the commercial break. But when we come back, I do have one subject for you.
Okay.
Then I'm going to pass the show over to you.
Vanessa Lina. Adrian Lalo.
This
is Cynthia Bass today.
I'm Sonia Fisher. This is Shane Smith.
My name is Alexandra Bowie.
My name is Amelia Clover.
Hi, I'm Amy Linden.
Hi, I'm Anita Nicole Brown.
It's Renee Green.
Hi, my name is Asata Caldwell.
Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke.
Hi, I'm Bryn Berg.
Hi, I'm Casey Dunn.
Hi, it's Cassandra Kavinsky.
Hi, I'm Christina Briza.
I'm Cindy Hogan. I'm Courtney Sinello.
Hi, I'm Daisy.
My name is Deborah Jane East.
Hi, my name is Dinah Marcia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Victoria London.
Hi, I'm Heather Krona.
Hi, I'm Heather Callahan Stevens.
Hi, I'm Jay Nicole Ralph.
My name is Jamie Petrone.
My name is Julie.
My name is Julia Brankovich.
Kathleen Wills.
Kimberly Amato.
Hi, my name is Laura Putnam.
Hi, I'm Laura Shapanis.
Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Damas.
This is Michelle Mupo, a.k.a. Fuchsia.
I'm Rachel Olvera.
Hi, my name is Sarah Joy Mount.
Hi, I'm Susan Brender.
Hi, everyone. This is Venus Leone.
Hi, I'm Cheryl Dana.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Herrera, and I was just on the Keith Andrew Network. It was tons of fun. We used up all our time and then some. I really recommend this show, and try to be a guest on Keith's show.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to 520. I am your host, Keith Andrew, along here is a good friend, Mr. Brian. In just the last 7 minutes and counting, I'm going to pass the show over to you. But one thing we were talking before we took the commercial break was online gaming and phone gaming for that matter. And it's pretty interesting because I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. I wouldn't mind playing games on the phone, there's Angry Birds and everything, but the only thing about that, if you don't have internet, it's kind of like shit out of luck. But there are some games that still work without the internet, so that's on my iPad. I deleted everything that needed the internet. I have everything that works normally. Mm-hmm. But if you can give me like a PlayStation controller and that I can use it and play from the phone, I would definitely do that.
Right. So online gaming right now is on the precipice of a big shift, specifically mobile gaming. Are you familiar with a game called Fortnite? It's like this really trendy game that's going on right now. Fortnite can run on a phone now with touch controls and everything. It's a game that is literally on every hardware platform on the market. The fact that we're getting that quality of gaming on phones, tablets, small devices is astounding. And like I said earlier with like the city of San Antonio as an example, when cities start building these Wi-Fi infrastructures and that are becoming free or by tax dollars, like you get basic the base standard of internet for free on a citywide scale, that's gonna kind of be the answer to, well, what if I don't have internet? Well, in the future, hopefully, most cities will have a citywide broadband connection for all. As long as you pay your tax dollars to the city, you'll have access to the citywide Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And that's kind of their answer to that. Now, granted, there are people who serve our country who are overseas who are dealing with that, and there are still plenty of companies who believe in offline single-player games. It's just you just got to find a way to obtain it because physical CDs and cartridges are dying off. And in a way, it's kind of a good thing because it's wasting a lot of plastic and it's bad for the environment. So downloading games digitally is the first step. And once you download even single-player games, it's on your device, that's it, you're good. You download it, you let it update, and then again, when citywide Wi-Fi kind of becomes more of a thing, there's like it's going to be kind of like the phone booth. There's going to be no place. It's going to be hard to find places without Wi-Fi. The infrastructure is just going to be that interwoven in society, and God, it's like Blade Runner.
Personally, I lost count how many times I got my ass kicked when playing online game, and then either the internet connection was too slow, or my guy would move too slow, and the other guy would be flying around. And it's kind of like, whatever happened to just plugging in the game and just playing Mario or Zelda or Mega Man? It's like, I'm not really into the whole online gaming. Yes, it's fun. You can kick the crap out of someone, not in real life, obviously.
Right.
You can kick the crap out of someone from Japan. It's like, take that, Japan, I just kicked your ass. But it's kind of like, when did all this become a thing? Why is it? I prefer the cartridge, because if you don't, look at it like this. If you don't have internet, you can't do any of this. But if you have a cartridge, you can bring it anywhere you go, and it works regardless.
Mm-hmm. And it's interesting you bring that up in Japan, because one of the few main pioneers of the gaming industry still believe in that, and that's Nintendo.
Yes.
Their new hardware, the Nintendo Switch. Still, you can get cartridges, you can still play them. I think game companies still, it's like, look, we're still going to have offline games. It's just the way you purchase them and get them. You just need an internet connection to buy it, install it. If you look at like a GameStop now, they have download codes for full games now. They just give you a piece of cardboard with a scratch-off code. You redeem it, you download it, there you go. Now, the reason multiplayer games are so popular is because of, it's two words, replay value. Video games are now the most profitable form of entertainment ever. It just toppled the movie industry. And it's actually thanks to a lot of massive single markets, like in Asia. China is one of the largest markets now to cater to, both in Hollywood and in video games. For an example, the Warcraft movie tanked domestically. No one liked that movie. In China, they made so much movie, they warranted a sequel. China alone, because China loves that franchise. And with multiplayer games, you can get hours and hours and hours of fun as long as you have the internet. But if you pay it's like almost $20 to see a movie. 2 hours, that's it. Movie's over. You drop $20. If you want to see it again, you got to pay again at the ticket office. No, I mean, even now, movies are coming out as digital downloads quicker. Normally, you would go see a movie, you wait a year, and then it comes out on DVD. Now that time is cut in half. So it's that replay value. It's that instant feedback you get, almost instant feedback you get. Like when you look at those multiplayer shooters or fighting games, it's endless fun because the task is simple. It's you, the opponent, that's it, donezo. And that's why multiplayer games have kind of taken over.
I agree with you. I don't know, I guess I'm old school. It's not my generation.
Hey, retro gaming is still a thing. If you look at, like, Dungeons and Dragons has become a thing again. It's very mainstream. People are now collecting and reselling their old Super Nintendos or their old Ataris. You go to, like, retro gaming expos. They're selling and trading cartridges and old controllers. I mean, the old stuff is still good because there's a charm to it because, that kind of stuff is somewhat timeless. It still works because it was built to last longer. I still have my original Super Nintendo with Donkey Kong Country still plugged in. Sometimes I bust out that bad boy and I play that thing like crazy.
Now, wrapping up our talk show, I'm going to pass the show over to you for the last 2 minutes. Was there anything you want to talk about, anything you want to promote? This is your time.
Mm-hmm. Well, quick promotion. I do Twitch live streams, both art and gaming, at twitch.tv/livestudiobrian, all together. And also, I wanted to ask you, since obviously this is somewhat of a podcasting formatted show, and as someone who's also a podcasting pioneer, a second generation pioneer, I'm curious, what's your vision for this? I want to know kind of what you'd like to see the show become.
No, absolutely. I've been doing this for 5.5 years. I would love to work for the WWE, TNA Wrestling when they get their shit together. Any big networks. I'm not doing this for shits and giggles. I want to do this until I'm 6 feet under with a stone pointing up. I want to do this until I die. Because it's just something I found I'm very passionate about, and it means a lot to me. This June coming up will be 6 years, or 5.5 years, 24/7. I've been promoting myself, getting stars, actors, actresses, models, CEOs, professional wrestlers, you name them, I got them. People with disabilities, people without disabilities. So this isn't, one-hit wonder or I can't think of the word, but fly-by-night, song by Rush. But it isn't a fly-by-night thing. I want to show people, hey, I was labeled handicapped, mentally disturbed, retarded. Look at what I was able to accomplish. So either I work for World Wrestling Entertainment, TNA, Fox, CNN, MTV, become an A star, B star, C star, whatever. And people say one thing I remember about Keith Andrew was he made his own opportunities. And actually that should be the title of my book, Make Your Own Opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how to write a book, but I suck at that. But it's just one of those things I'm saying, you may consider me one way, but I'm going to prove you another.
Mm-hmm. And I respect that, and I admire that so much, that you want to prove to everyone, it's like, look, see me for me, not the label society gave me, and I'm I want something, and I'm capable of getting it, and that's why I want to prove to you, and that's what I respect, and that's something that I tell a lot of people. It's like, especially, I've kind of gotten to that level where people are now asking me, how do I get into this? It's like, you got to make your own opportunities. You have to go after it. You have to find ways to promote yourself. You have to find ways to push yourself. Get that fire under your ass. Get something to get you going, and reach for it. Grab it. Climb that mountain. You got to make your own opportunities, as you say.
No, absolutely. Now, I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up, first question is, are you on social media? LinkedIn, Twitter, Stage 32? Are you on any of those fun sites?
Yes, I'm mainly on Twitter because it's easier for me to interact with everyone, and that's at Brian Olvera, capital VA at the end. That's my professional profile. I'll usually give sneak peeks of whatever I'm working at, or I'll just randomly give my 2 cents on something, and I like to interact with people and talk to people about this stuff. Any questions, or like I said, if they want my 2 cents on something, this never leaves, because I might get an audition text, so I can't let this go. So I'm always ready and willing to talk to anyone on Twitter.
No, absolutely. My last question for you is, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your first reaction? And after being a guest, how do you feel now?
Okay. First reaction, I was actually surprised someone wanted to interview me, because I was like, wow, someone actually wants to interview me. That's interesting. And I did a little research. I saw who was following you, and I saw some of my colleagues where I'm like, oh, this is great. And finally, when you reached out to me again, and I finally had time, because I don't know if you can see, I'm actually in the process of moving, right, which is why I've been so busy. And I said, I got a little bit of time, let's do it, and I'm glad I did. This is fun. It's a nice, open dialogue between me and you and to the audience, and I like it. I love it. I like what you got going on here, Keith.
Hey, you help me, I help you.
Exactly.
Now, I do have a couple questions off the air about wrapping up our interview segment. It was a real honor and privilege to have you as a guest. And
Thank you for having me.
No, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.